rapes he was doing to her, and then he come out of jail and he continued his rapes. So you'll hear from 2 girls today. They'll tell the stories of what he done, and he's got away with it. He runs a restaurant in this town. These men have murdered kids, they've raped, terrorised kids, and they're running restaurants in this town. The police know it, everyone knows it, they're not getting done.
But why do you think the great police force of this country are not doing nothing?
Great police force of this country.
Fucking hell, this is stand-up.
In this town, they've been working with the gangs. You've seen corruption at the highest level. They have facilitated the rape of 1,000 children in this town. And they don't care. They generally don't care. And who runs this town? The Muslim gangs. There's only 1.7% Muslims in this town. And they run it. They have everyone in fear, including the police.
When you were here on May the 7th, you unveiled part 2. And at the end, one thing you said was that you had evidence and information that you was going to share with the police. What has become of that?
Nothing. The police, so you understand, there's other victims who are in positions where they want to work with the police. The police have refused to meet, as have the MPs. I've tried to facilitate meetings for girls who are stuck as modern-day slaves, being entrapped, selling drugs, being raped. The police won't even facilitate. They're not interested. But we're then going on to episode 5 and episode 6, and the head of this council, we're going to bring down the head of this council.
Are they involved?
We've already got him. The head of this council, there's allegations of sexual assault against minors from him. We have recordings of them, and they're all at it. So, I don't care.
But my final question, let's talk about London. And let's talk about Speaker's Corner and also about the Football Lads Alliance. Will the Football Lads Alliance be coming to London?
So I said they are on the 24th of September, isn't they?
Will you be there?
No, I'm not here on the 24th of September. So I hope it's needed. This immigration that's happened to this country, 1,000 men coming in. I've been looking at the Pew Research of them, how they think when it comes to Pakistan, Afghanistan, their views. It's not going to work. And literally 75,000 have come in the last 2 years. This is mainly British Armed Forces. And they're getting put up in 4-star hotels.
And definitely the final question, let's talk about Speaker's Corner. I asked you last time. Sorry, I asked you about Speaker's Corner. I know they want to go, but are you going to be coming to Speaker's Corner? Because Ali Darwa has called you a chicken, and I said to him, I will speak to you. But will you be coming to Speaker's Corner in London? Yes or no? Talk to Ali Darwa.
Ali, you're irrelevant, and you want to have sex with kids.
Yes, Tommy!
And Ali, if you ever want a charity fight, I'll punch your head in, bro.
Much love, brother.
Tommy!
Getting crazy, baby, chill. Don't medicate, just meditate. You waking up now, well, baby, you hella late. Educate, look at what's going on, let it resonate, accelerate. Find your inner hunger like you never ate. Agenda is to push the hate, separate and segregate. Don't celebrate quite yet, the storm is coming, Q, for heaven's sake. Violence that they demonstrate, instigate and penetrate. The values of our country and our God is what they desecrate. My fighters ain't no featherweight, pulling out the seams of the fabric that they fabricate. They feed us lies, manipulate, intimidate through fear and force, forcing us to sit and wait till we come together, congregate, and then we liberate. Praying that you give me strength to find some love amongst the hate. Marching on these streets of blood till I see the golden gates. Troubadour and troubled souls, one of God's servants. Blades out, cut the grass till we see the serpents.
Tommy Robinson has not just paid the price, he has stood the test of time. He is the man. Without Tommy Robinson, these films would never have been made. It's as simple as that. He is the driving force. He is the motivator. He might be the most hated man in the United Kingdom, but he's the most loved man in this crowd. Give it up for Tommy Robinson.
Disappointed, if I'm honest, because people should be coming out to see the story of these girls. You see, there was a journalist, was her name Sonia, this week, who condemned me for highlighting the Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs. She said I do it out of racism without a care for the girls. That journalist still would not have
courage to talk about it if it wasn't for the people who joined the English Defence League to push this issue to the British public. And they only feel that they can talk about it whilst they hammer us. So they have to condemn us as the big bad bogeymen so that they are free to even speak about this issue. You're going to see in this story, there is a gentleman called Ahmed Nawaz. Ahmed Nawaz murdered a 13-year-old child. The police didn't even investigate the motive for why he done it. You're going to hear tonight from witness accounts his motive for why. They said it was a prank went wrong. It wasn't a prank that went wrong. He actively targeted her because he was angry with her and he murdered her. What did the Telford Chief of Police, the first thing when he knocked on that mother's door who had a 13-year-old daughter taken from her, the first thing he said, we can't make this about race. It is about race. It's all about race. They have actively targeted white girls, not Muslim girls. Every one of them say it in their descriptions whilst they're raping them. If the police would have done their job in this documentary, you're going to see that after murdering a 13-year-old girl, he spent 15 months in jail. Hang on there! Hello? He spent 15 months in jail. They didn't even investigate him for his rapes. When he come out of jail, he goes on to destroy another girl's life. That girl would not have had to go through the destruction. You're going to hear in this story, she tried to kill herself live on the footage. She went to kill herself. 20 years on. That could have been prevented if the police done their job. This, and Ahmed Nawaz, when you're telling these stories, these men must be brought to justice. I see we've got some opposition coming in here. They've all got blue hair. They are here, ignore them though, don't go over there. But they are here. We are showing a film that tells the story of women who have been tortured, murdered and raped. And these scumbags have the audacity to turn up and oppose it.
And the police are letting them!
And the police let them every time, they're in bed with them. We also, breaking news. Telford Police, which isn't that confident, is Telford Police. There is a live investigation into the leader of this council through covert recordings that we've produced with allegations of sexual assault against minors in the council building and also against males. So Shaun Davies I'll let the film do the talking. Do you know this film? This didn't get finished till 3 o'clock in the morning because we didn't have the footage because the man who had it had gone away. We thought it was on a thing, so it went in at 3 o'clock this morning. It's a good film, so I hope you enjoy it. Cheers.
I don't really feel like being saved, to be honest. I'm just going to be on myself, actually. But there is fucking nothing that compares to rape. The only thing that compares to rape is torture.
Please don't do anything. You see, all the years later, look at their lives. Look at her life.
Can you talk to me about Becky?
I just knew something wasn't right. I could just see.
How old was she?
She was 10.
When she lost her virginity?
She was being raped by a knife player.
I couldn't even talk to her on the phone because I just cried because I knew what had happened.
This is where they took every girl and said that you're not going home until you do whatever they wanted you to do.
How many times do you think you as a child were brought here to be abused and raped?
At least twice a week.
Becky was first leaning against the bonnet. He took it upon himself to start his engine and to drive over 200 metres with her clinging on the side of the window. She fell off and sustained a head trauma. 3.5 filming hours later, I was told that she was brain dead and her life support had to be switched off. He got 3 years and served 15 months.
What about the allegation that you took a young girl up to a weekend, a school child up to a weekend? This is Ahmed Nawaz. Unsuspecting customers need to be aware of where these premises are, who these men are.
How are they not getting arrested? How? You've got witness allegations of rape and they still don't get arrested. until their businesses are closed down. These men are operating in this town. Make sure you share who they are, you share their businesses. Episode 5, we're going after 3 more businesses in this city that have been used to prostitute children. The police. In episode 5, I spent 12 to 18 months getting to know a survivor who didn't live in the UK. I flew her into the UK to meet with me. I went excited because she is a wealth of information against these gangs. When I got to the airport, armed police approached me in the airport. It's all on camera. They said, "Who are you meeting here?" I said, "Why?" They said I had to tell them who I was meeting there. I waited for 2 hours. The girl didn't come. I went outside, I said on video, "I'm disappointed, I don't understand why she's not here." I've been in contact with her because it was at the start of COVID, so we flew her to another country to then get her into the UK. The police arrested her at the airport for malicious communications for naming the men that raped her. This girl we have recordings, historical recordings from 8 and 9 years ago of the woman begging the police for help, begging them for safety. They said she was not in danger. Our friends moved her. This is going back 8 years, yeah? Our friends moved her. The next day, her mother was violently beaten on her doorstep by gangs of Muslim men. What Telford police have done purposely, they purposely leave the victims in vulnerable situations without protection because they don't want them to be witnesses for court cases. The girl was on the phone begging. We've got the police officer's name. The woman from the council comes on the phone and says, "I'm sorry, PC," and she names the police officer, says, "You are not in danger." This is a tactic used by this police force. We also have, which we've been trying to do, but the police haven't cooperated, we have a woman who is a victim of modern day slavery. She's forced to chop jugs from 8 o'clock in the morning till midnight. She would be a key witness to take down these gangs. But the police are not interested. They just want to lock her up for the crime of being a victim. And also, I thought Lucy Allen as an MP was quite good on this issue.
Alan.
The Minister for his response. The Minister will be aware of a horrific case that I have been raising in this place of a 13-year-old victim of a grooming gang with multiple perpetrators that were arrested but were not charged. Will the Minister confirm that it is his department that is reviewing this case and when he expects to be able to comment on it?
No, she's not. So I contacted Lucy Allen and I said, "I've had a woman come to me. She's a vulnerable woman. She's trapped. She has nowhere to turn. Can I put her in direct contact with you? She needs someone to fight for her." She says, "Yeah, put her in contact with me, but you stay out of it, Tommy." So then I get the girl, I sit down with the girl, we contact Lucy Allen. Lucy Allen's response was, "Where do you live?" When she said where she lived, she said, "Oh, that's not in my area. Contact this other random dude, this other bloke." After building up her confidence, I then sent Lucy Allen an email straight away saying, "Thank you, you're now starring in our documentary when we're looking at the council because you've not helped her." Within 20 minutes she contacted the girl. But the girl is still trapped. And these police are not interested in taking down the gangs. You'll all see it. If she ends up going to jail, she's not a drug dealer. She's not profiting. She's a slave at the hands of Pakistani drug gangs in this town. But we also have an episode on the council, and the next episode it'll heat up because we're going back after their main gang lads. So it'll be interesting. If you're one of the people that putting that together, I know I get a bit disappointed by the viewings on some of them, but we are creating a box set which will then promote the box set. It will always be there. There'll be 8 series in Telford. If you're one of the people that subscribe to Urban Scoop, you make it possible. You make us have security for hotels, for travel, for getting around the country. It's the most important work I've ever done. And do you know what? Do you know when I approach them men, I can see the colour drain out of their faces. And I think, I know, like when I see them, it's satisfying for me. It's really satisfying for me. because I look and think, yeah, your life's changed, bruv. Yeah, your life's changed, and the way you're feeling now is how these women feel for decades. So for me to have the ability and the chance, because I thrive on it, to go and find these scumbags and make sure they're famous, I thank everyone for giving me that opportunity as well. Yeah.
Nice to see you all. A bit stuck for words now. I'm not used to being on the stage.
Go on, girl.
Thank you for all of your support, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. All of the donations that you've made, just ignore the little trolls. They're not worth it. They're not worth it. It's off my ass, to be honest. We will take them down. That's my next mission. So thank you all, and I'll see you all again.
I think, do you know, because I know Sarah's not saying that, do you know the effect they have, these men? The effect they have. They take little pieces, bearing in mind that we do interviews that are 3 or 4 hours long. They take little pieces from the interview and they try and search for something to discredit the woman. Yeah, that's what they do. So they're having to read, not only courageous enough to tell their story, but scumbags, English scumbags, paid for by Hope Not Hate as an operation whose job it is to attack these women. Yeah? And everyone, that's why I know I'm going to find you. Yeah, I know where you are. But I just, when I get round to it, everyone's going to know that your job is to attack victims of rape. And the reason that so many of these women didn't come forward in the first place, the reason it was hidden for so long, is because they weren't believed. They weren't believed. So they find the courage to speak out, and these scumbags go after them and attack them and try and discredit them in every way. They're not going after the men. They're not even talking about these men. These men who have been exposed as raping and torturing children. They're not even going after them.
Absolute scumbags.
So it frustrates me. A lot frustrates me in a minute, but yeah, how is there not a revolution in this country when you hear what's happening to other women? It's like, how is there only this many people here? How is it that people don't care? I just don't get it. I just think you do not care. Listen to what they've gone through. There's a 13-year-old kid in this town who's been murdered. Yeah, no one cares. The man's walking around the street. No one gives a shit. It's insane. We have become such a selfish nation of people who do not care. No one even wants to comment about it. They should be getting chased out of this town every bloody day. Instead they're running it. And yeah, we can. Yeah, thanks everyone for coming, and yeah, I'll see you soon. I think the police in Telford could take a lesson from Tommy Roberts on how to interview someone. I mean, poor David, completely folded under questioning. So maybe the police need to get David Asidi back in and ask him a few more leading questions and see if he confesses to raping one of our brave survivors. Let's get David Asidi nicked. The reality of what you've seen today, this is the most harrowing film that we have made. This is a life and death situation that these girls face. And I'm going to say something now which will shock you. I was talking to a survivor yesterday, and she told me that she'd been trafficked to Birmingham. She'd been raped in the house that she was trafficked to. She went into the bathroom of this house in Birmingham to get herself cleaned up. And lying in the bath in that house in Birmingham was the body of a little girl. How many of the daughters of England that have disappeared without trace? How many of them have been murdered by this vile, disgusting Pakistani Muslim mafia? It needs to be taken down, and the people standing behind you on the horses and the high-vis vests, they need to do their jobs. They need to get these guys arrested and locked up. See you all in the next demo. This platform so they can tell their stories, but to their world and all the other scumbags, I'm going to expose every one of you. Right? You are working, you are getting paid, I know where you work, you are using your company time to attack victims of rape. Attack victims of rape, that's what you're doing. And everyone in your neighbourhood's going to know who you are, guys.